देवीं गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषाय शून्यवादी पाशादेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Prabhupada used to say, Krishna consciousness is a self-manifest peaceful condition. We cannot artificially show Krishna consciousness. It's difficult. It's a self-manifest, naturally manifest. And first we can understand this example quite practically. See, our time for spiritual life, sadhana, is you have to get up Mangala Aarti, so something like 4 o'clock, and we do sadhana until 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. That is our day. And that is the time of sleeping for the materialistic person. And his day, recently I was telling you, some of my students unfortunately went to Goa. So I asked him, what are you doing there? And where did you sleep in the night anyway? So no need, very good night life is there. So basically their day starts in the night. Their life is in the night, 9 o'clock onward to 2, 3 o'clock. That is our sleeping time. So life is reverse actually. When they are sleeping, we are awake. When we are awake, they are sleeping. So in that way we can understand this point very easily. But now there is a deeper meaning here. The deeper meaning is that the sage feels transcendental pleasure in the gradual advancement of spiritual culture. Little you reduce it. I'll start sneezing. The sage feels transcendental pleasure in the gradual advancement of spiritual culture. This is a fortune. Sometimes people say, have you seen Krishna? But even you have not seen the fire, you feel the heat. So similarly, in the same way, even though we may not have seen Krishna, we still feel pleasure. So much pleasure in service to Krishna, we know He is there. It is not that we have seen, and none of us can claim, but we feel so much pleasure in devotion service to Krishna. And as we keep practicing Krishna consciousness, this keeps increasing. Day by day. Prabhupada used to say it's like a train, you are going to Delhi. You see new station every day. So the spiritual life is like new realizations. So, this is like that. We heard in the scripture but we have not seen. We see from our own eyes. Every day it is like that. In fact, I remember in the beginning when I took up to Krishna consciousness, but I don't read much books. I started reading books, Gita, Bhagavatam. First stage is so wonderful. Is what all Prabhupada asks us to do, it is there in the books. And it's not that he has given some his own curve. No. Whatever he's telling you to do, when you read the books, you get so surprised. It's there in the books. So that is one level of faith we develop because we have faith in the scriptures. And then, when based on the authority of Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, when you are enthusiastically practicing, you feel so much encouragement. Because Krishna within the heart encourages. He protects the devotee, he encourages. Just like sometimes it is said that we should remember Krishna at the point of death. Correct? It's not something mechanical. Because at that moment, when the body and the mind are being withdrawn from each other, the subtle body and the gross body is being separated. Soul is still deeper beyond the subtle body. It is being separated. There is tremendous pain in the whole system. Whole body goes through a torture at that time. Correct? There is and at that moment, the question is, how will you remember God? Because the rule is, the law of transmigration is, whatever you think at the time of death, you get the body accordingly. Correct? So devotees went to Prabhupada and asked this question. Morning walk. I am studying those morning walks now. So Prabhupada says, that's the general rule. But for a devotee, because he has been engaged in Krishna's service, Krishna remembers. Krishna remembers all that he has done. And Krishna helps him to focus his mind at his lotus feet. Just like we ourselves, when now we come to know some devotee is about to die, what do? All of us collect, we all do kirtan. Correct? We read from Gita, mainly kirtan. Because Harinama is a process. Now philosophy, that's not the time for advanced philosophy. That's the time people will request, sit around me and do kirtan. Correct? And at that time, we help. So just like we help, you think Krishna is not a person. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, I am the best well-wisher. And you may be thinking you are the well-wisher, he is the best well-wisher. And you might have forgotten what he has done. Krishna remembers every service that he has done. Because Prabhupada says that devotee should not be a advertiser. He should be a silent worker. Sometimes we like that. We do some stuff, everybody should take note of that and recognize that. The devotee should be a silent worker. So now, but Krishna has recognized all the service he has done. Krishna knows. So at that moment, Krishna is very pleased and he helps him remember. Sometimes we may have an accident where in a second, just like in that famous Volvo, whole bus is burned. They were cooked like they cook chicken, like that they were cooked inside. You can't get out, central lock is locked, whole 45 people are cooked inside. When the bus was opened later, you can't recognize one man from another because the whole samskara is over. It's burnt. The only bones are sitting on the chair. It recently, it came. Thus, ghastly things happen. Now at that, few minutes that he had, it's the fire, it's even a train, I wonder, people could not go from one compartment to another, such a speed fire comes. Recently, Tamil Nadu, one train was on fire. People could not even run to, just so fast, it's all over, within a minute person has burned to death. But the question comes at that point is that how could he, suppose you tell me I get up from my bed to prepare a proper consciousness and think about Krishna, it takes you some time. Where is the time for that fellow? He was sleeping in the bed and suddenly was he able to remember the Lord is a great question. And forget about him, if even I was there at that moment, will I be able to think about the Lord and pray? It's not easy actually, correct? But Krishna remembers. Krishna remembers your service and he helps you to focus at his lotus feet. Krishna gives a whole inspiration. And there was one devotee, Prabhupada had a desire that in Vrindavan 24-hour kirtan happened. And it was going on but struggling. It's not easy to maintain, even for a president to maintain 24-hour kirtan, it's not easy. So some devotee came forward, he became very famous later, to do that 24 hours. He was to lead the kirtan for hours. He became famous in whole ISKCON for his kirtan. And then what happened that unfortunately, or fortunately, he had so famous that people wanted him to record his kirtans. So he made a studio finally where you can record, just like now we are recording all the drama we are doing because the fan sound spoils the whole recording when I sit and hear. So we do all this. But actually you have to record in a studio, then you get good quality. So he made a small studio for himself which was just next to the altar, behind. And they had given a room there. And he used to stay in the room. And so that no sound comes, the room was soundproof, sealed practically. And he had his small kitchen there to heat some for himself. So he was an elderly man, some milk or something he can cook. And what happened, unfortunately, the gas leaked. Whole room was on fire. He was inside in the room. He can't go towards the door because there is full fire. He can't open his door, it's not possible. He understood his death is certain now. Just imagine, he knew he has few minutes remaining because gas has leaked. Fire is spreading like anything. He tried to jump towards the door, he can't even go there. It's ball of fire there, gas is burning, or maybe cylinder already burst. He's behind the altar. He paid obeisance to the deities. When he found him, he was like this, burnt. You see, so death is actually painful. Not that somebody may say, oh, this is horrible. My death I want. People surround me, people may hold your hand or whatever they do. Death is equally painful. This is a manodharma. The death on the road in an accident is not good, and death is less painful when I'm surrounded. Death is very painful. They say there is no pain medically equal to death. It's like, hundreds of bones being broken or thousands of scorpions biting you together. It's like that. The pain is terrible actually. It's Krishna's arrangement. Somebody asked me this question. Okay, this one is clear as per the shloka. The sage feels transcendental pleasure in the gradual advancement of spiritual pleasure. Why not go for this? So wonderful. Day by day, your pleasure is constant. Material life, what happens? Always there is a vacuum in the heart. And to fill that vacuum, we go run for sense gratification. That gives you more pain. And the heart is like empty. But spiritual life, what happens? There is happiness. By serving Krishna, it's a reciprocation. With the Lord, out of love for Lord, we serve. So much pleasure is there. So this is the spiritual life. So gradual advancement of spiritual culture. Whereas a man in materialistic activity being asleep to self-realization. Unfortunately, the sleep to sroje tato vimukha chetasa indriyartha maya sukaya bharamudoto vimudhani. So much in anxiety because of material activities. Dreams of varieties of sense pleasures. And even he lies down on the bed, he is dreaming on some sense pleasure. Perhaps if I had that, I'll be so happy. Horrible. And feeling sometimes happiness, sometimes distress in his sleeping condition. All that, that lamentation and hankering is going on in his heart. And he sleeps like that. Imagine, but an unfortunate. A devotee sleeps in a bliss. And just taking some rest to get up and again serve the Lord. And actually, therefore, devotee sleeps less. A karmi sleeps at least 12 hours. Because heart is full of sense gratification, desire. So much burning in the heart, he can't even sleep. Like that, horrible. And dreaming of varieties of sense pleasure whole night. So imagine how fortunate, how unfortunate it is. Now to change this actually, we cannot change by wishful thinking. Sometimes we hear this and we have some faith. We have to associate. We associate with the people who are in this platform. And the greatest personality on the platform is Srila Prabhupada. We know the current Acharya. How many people, we sometimes study, I'm just making a study of, he was like a hero leading them from the front. Prabhupada says, everybody has a tendency to fight. Correct? All of us have. Sometimes we like to fight. We get an opportunity, we are ready, come on. But this tendency in animals is used to fight among themselves. Okay? A dog sees another dog in his area. He jumps out. How they chase each other, we see that every day. But in human form of life, this tendency should be used for something else, for fighting against Maya. We want to fight against this kind of a horrible consciousness, where day and night we are dreaming sense pleasures. We want to fight there. Fighting is there. See, nothing has to be given up. Everything should be used. Krishna also has fighting tendency, and he comes down to this word, therefore fights Hiranaksha, Hiranyakashipu, Rama. Krishna came actually. One of the main reasons to came was Krishna wanted to little have some fun of fighting. And his own devotee, Jaya Vijaya, came down to fight with Krishna and gave him the pleasure of fighting. You want to fight Krishna? Come, I am ready. Fight with me. So like that, in the same way, the fighting tendency, instead of fighting with each other, should be used to fight with Maya. And when we start fighting each other, we give up fighting against Maya. You go to a man, even a devotee who is fight, sometimes they get involved, and you go to him, tell him, something advice for his own spiritual life. He will not take it properly. You will think, you're meaning, because whole mind is lost actually. The person has lost his sanity. A devotee is always in his mode that if somebody tells him some fault, he becomes very alert. Because he knows, just like a doctor and it tells a patient that you have this kind of a disease, he doesn't feel ashamed. Oh, really? What medicine I should take? Because he wants to be healthy. So devotee also is quite conscious the very reason he is there in this world, that he is sick. It's like somebody is asking, why does Krishna put us in this world? As a very easy reason. When your mobile is not working, you go to service center, correct? Why? I'm pressing it, it's not switching on only. Or I'm giving this, no flashlight is coming. It should work. So what does he do? That person, service center, they make it work the way you like. And therefore Prabhupada says in the preface, every word he says is very important. He says, the Lord wants it and he demands it, our surrender. Not only wants it, he demands it also. Why? He can demand because we are his property. Now this remote belongs to me. Now if the thing doesn't move the way I want, I get upset. I call this company and I say, what is this nonsense? Why this is not working? It should work, correct? When Arjuna refused to fight, Krishna says, Nimitra matrena bhavasam, just become an instrument in my hand. Why can he demand like that? How can he demand? He can demand because we are nothing but an instrument for him. Instrument for his pleasure. He wants something, do it. Krishna wants the war, Krishna wants, he will be very happy if millions of people die now, proceed. Go. That's what Krishna wanted. Arjuna said, no, Krishna, death will occur. No, I will be very happy if all death occur. Because Krishna came for that. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam. He came to destroy all the miscreants. Krishna will be very pleased if he does that. Proceeded. No matter his grandfather died, teacher died, he proceeded. The same way we should understand that actually Krishna demands us to become. So now sometimes we don't understand then why a death, why this painful condition. For materialist, if you see, for a devotee, because he's constantly feeling pleasure in service to Krishna, by the grace of Krishna, he doesn't feel the pain of death. Prabhupada says, he just feels like a lightning. The experience is like a cat carrying a rat and a cat carrying kitten. Correct? A different experience, even though the situation is same. Both. Correct? The kitten feels very love of the mother. A rat feels the jaws of death. So similarly, a devotee surrender to the Lord. My Lord, please protect me. And he completely leaves to the Lord. And he is not bothered. There is some pain, definitely. You have to be just like an operation, some pain. He just goes through that. Somebody gave a more gross example. You go from here to Nitte or you go to Manipal, someplace. You can go in an auto or a bike. One kind of experience you will have. And you can go in a good AC car, it's a good quality car. Another kind of. Bumps are there, but you don't feel the bumps. And a bike or a three-wheeler, you will be finished by the time you reach in 1.5 hours. The same way a devotee, by the grace of the Lord, even though goes through the same situations, feels very peaceful. So now, how can we reduce in our life all the turbulence that is there? The point is, if we become just like a teacher gives exams only when we don't study. A good teacher doesn't like to give so many quizzes and exams. He gives because we are not studying. So similarly, disturbances in the life will be reduced. At least the experience will be reduced if you become more responsible. You'll hardly feel any pain in life. Pain or death is needed as a trigger. I said death is so painful. Then the immediate question is, why is so much pain? Yes, it is needed. As a trigger for dull people to become serious to surrender to Krishna. So more we are irresponsible, be ready. Krishna has to give you a lot of jerks to make you surrender. Because he will make you surrender. Not this life, next life, he will not leave you. His attempt will not stop. Why not voluntarily agree? Just like a student. If he agrees to daily come back home and study and teacher comes to know of that, why will he give a quiz? Not needed, he knows. Correct? But as a teachers, we start giving quiz and exam when they don't study. Lot of quiz and exam we give. Because how to make them study? The same way, if you become responsible, the sages feel transcendental pleasure in the gradual advancement of spiritual culture. Krishna is so pleased with their devotion service. There is a reciprocation and they're feeling so much transcendental pleasure. But when the heart is empty from transcendental pleasure and Krishna is not accepting your service, then only thing is that we burst out towards sense gratification, even sinful activity. You can't stop it. If you are not having this gradual advancement of spiritual culture, we have to engage in sinful activities and go mad. Okay, so this is the path of salvation. The introspective man is always indifferent to materialistic happiness and distress. He goes on with the self-realization activities undisturbed by material reaction. Srila Prabhupada ki, Bhagavad Gita ki.